Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Wednesday Wake Up training session. We have something new to talk about this morning, and that is we are launching our new training program and training system. We're calling it the LEAP training programs. We're very excited about it. It's combining all of the things we've been doing and some new things we're going to be introducing as well. And the word LEAP, of course, means taking a significant step forward. And our goal with every agent is to help each of the agents that work in our network to take a step forward, whether that means to increase their business or to make their lives easier, whatever their goals might be, to help them take that significant step forward. The word LEAP also is an acronym meaning leadership, excellence, attitude, and professionalism. Leadership stands for leaders. Leaders establish clear goals and inspire others to follow their guidance. We are leaders in the markets that we serve. Excellence, the second word. Excellence is doing ordinary things extraordinarily well and is based on continuous improvement. We are known for the excellence of our services and our unmatched results. So excellence is something that has always been important and one of the hallmarks of our company. The third word is attitude. Positive attitudes and affirmations motivate and inspire enthusiasm for our business and the people we serve. Attitude, we talk a lot about that and how important it is to have positive attitudes. We are recognized for our client focus and our commitment to long-term relationship building. Attitude is the basis of that. And then the last word is professionalism. This is one of the things that I have always found to be so true and what drew me to this organization when I joined it 15, 16 years ago, and that is professionalism. Strong work ethics, honesty, and respect are the hallmarks of professionalism. We are known in our markets as the consummate professionals in real estate. And that is so true, and that's especially important, and we can take advantage of that because, as so many of us know, the average view of the realtor in this business across the country is that we are not good communicators, we're not very trustworthy. So being professional and talking about that can be a huge differentiator for us. So the LEAP training system includes 3 elements. LEAP 1 is the 90 Days to Success plan to rev up your business. Several of you have been through that. Some of you are going through that right now. So that will continue. Kent Muchmore has led that for the last 18 months or so. He's finishing up one of the sessions here in the Indy Metro offices now, and we'll be starting another round of that. We do that on an ongoing basis, and we're looking to help some of the other offices implement that approach as well. It's a great way to rev up your business. LEAP 2 is our continuous improvement training and coaching to enhance your business. So LEAP 1 is to rev it up. LEAP 2 is to enhance your business. We talk so much about continuous improvement is so crucial and important. If we don't change, if we don't grow, if we don't continue to improve, we'll be left behind, and that involves so many different things. Our goal is to help with coaching and training to help every agent continue to improve and enhance their business. And then LEAP 3, of course, is the Peak Producers class and training to scale and create value in your business, to scale and create value. You've gotten your business revved up through the 90-day plan. You've begun to enhance your business and really begin to grow it with continuous improvement training and coaching. And then with taking the Buffini Peak Producers classes, you can really start to scale and create value in your business, with the goal being, after decades in the business, to have a business that is so well run, so filled with a good team that you can sell your business to one of the people you've brought into the business and retire and bicycle or play golf every day that you want to and still make money for several years from your business. So going on to through into the LEAP training program, we still talk about habits, attitudes, and skills. And I'm sorry, I never did put this on the full screen. Let me do that right now with my iPad. There we go. And actually, let me close down the little window there and move that over there. All right. So habits, attitudes, and skills. We always talk about those elements, and that still applies with the LEAP training that comes right from Buffini. Today, we're going to talk about the skill of doing annual business plans. We're going to focus. It's that time of the year. It's October. The cool front is starting to come through, as I mentioned earlier. Starting today, we're going to have some cooler weather. It's been unseasonably warm, but it's time to start thinking about our business planning for 2017 and hitting the ground running with everything we're doing. So, several steps involved in doing your annual business planning. We're going to walk through them, and then we're going to go live to one of the Excel spreadsheets that I really, really love. The first step to do in thinking about your business planning for 2017 is to master your stats for where you are. Some of you newer agents, you may not have a whole lot of transaction stats, but you've got other things to think about as well. Those of you who've been in the business for a while and have years of statistics or a few years of statistics, it's crucial that you understand what they are and where they have show you to be. A couple of things to think about. Obviously, planning, the third one there, that's what we're talking about today, but also knowing your statistics can differentiate you. If you, for example, have sold 2 houses in a neighborhood and you're going after a listing in that neighborhood, and your days on the market for the 2 houses you sold in the last year were half of the average days on the market in that neighborhood, you better know that statistic and use it to differentiate yourself, obviously enhancing your position. If, similar example, your average for all your listings that you've sold in the last 6 months or the last year is 98%, and the market's average ratio of list price to sale price is 95%, wow, you've enhanced your professionalism and differentiated yourself. So, obviously, the third one is planning, and that's what we're focusing on today. The more you know about where you've been, the better you can set, adjust, and reach your goals. So let's talk about some of the statistics and some of the stats that you should be aware of. In this business, most of the time we talk about volume. Oh, do you know Sally, she's with XYZ, or in our XYZ office, she's a $3 million agent, or he's a $6 million agent, or he's a $10 million agent. You know, it's a very convenient and simple yardstick that we all use. But what that doesn't get into is the real details that help us plan and help us adjust and help us grow our business. And of course, it says nothing about how much money we might be making. That $10 million agent might be spending a fortune on Zillow, Trulia, referrals, et cetera, and be doing half of their transactions through the relocation department, which is wonderful to build your volume, but their average commission rate may be very low, and they may be making not as much money as the person who's selling $6 million and doing it all by referrals and not paying out anything for advertising. So we need to dig deeper than just your volume. So first things to look at, what's your average sale price? And when we get into going live and looking at the business planner, I'll show you the impact that increasing your average sale price can have. So what's your average sale price on the things that you've sold, both listings and with buyers? What's your average days on the market? Obviously, for listings there, we already talked about how that can impact things, but what's your average days on the market? What's your listing to buyer ratio? How is that fitting in? The traditional approach is that you should be about 50-50 or maybe a little more listings than buyers. That's because listings generate more clients. Buyers typically don't generate more clients. Buyers take a lot more time, so you can have a lot easier life if you've got a little bit more listings, maybe even 55 or 60-40 with listings to buyer ratio. If you've got a lot more buyers than listings, then that's something to really take a look at how you can improve your listings, because that will enhance your business and allow you to have a lot more time and a lot better life since you're not out showing so many houses. So the next one there, average commission rate. This one is huge. What's your average commission percentage rate that you're getting? I mentioned relocation. Relocation is fabulous to build your business and get business, but when you do that, to a large extent, that will lower your average commission rate. I've told the story often of Jonna Montgomery, an excellent agent in our Greenwood office a few years ago when we first started coaching with her down there. we sat down and met at the end of the year or the beginning of the year to talk about some business planning for her, and we looked at her average commission rate. She'd sold $6 million of real estate the previous year, and it turned out her average commission rate was 1.8%. 1.8%. She about died. And she realized she did some relocation, but she also just immediately said, I've got to stop discounting. We talked about the fact, and she realized that she discounted almost every transaction, even if she wasn't competing, even if somebody didn't ask for it, she just discounted being nice. We looked at the fact that if she could raise her commission rate from 1.8 to 2.3, in other words, 0.5%, that would have added like $35,000 to her bottom line, her net income. And the next year, she actually accomplished that by just paying attention to that number. But if you don't look at that number, if you don't know what your average commission rate is, you're going to continue blithely along, as she had for several years, not making as much money as she could have and not winning as much business as she might have without having to sacrifice. So the next one there, conversion percentage. This is especially for you newer agents where you may not have that terribly many stats on transactions yet. What's your conversion ratio percentages? Conversion of, you get you're doing expired listing calls. You're doing for sale by owner calls. You get floor calls. You're doing lots of floor duty. You're getting lots of floor calls. You're getting internet leads through some source or whatever. How many of those are you converting, number one, into getting actually information on those kinds of leads to actually talk to someone? And number two, how many appointments are you getting? That's number one and number two in terms of conversion. How many appointments are you setting? And then when you've got an appointment with somebody, whether it's a for sale by owner, an expired listing, a sign call, an internet lead that comes in or whatever, when you've gotten a face-to-face appointment with them, how many times has that led into someone who's actually become a customer? And I'll say it's a customer because they've not yet bought anything with you. Once they've crossed that line and you've either signed a listing with them or you've written a purchase agreement, they're officially a client, and that's where we want to get with these, and obviously to get to the closing table. So, but starting, you newer agents, you can take a look at what's my conversion ratio, my conversion percentage in terms of my calls, my coffees, am I getting, when I have coffee with a good friend or one of the clients that I've helped buy a house in my first year in the business, am I getting referrals from them? And how many of those referrals are turning into business? And speaking of referrals, expireds, et cetera, the last thing that you'll want to make sure you keep track of, especially you newer agents is starting out, and those who've been in the business, you'll want to look back and track this if you haven't been doing that. What's the sources of your business? That's going to tell you, whoa, wow, I got 75% of my business from referrals last year. I didn't realize it was that much. I'm going to put more time on referrals and try to turn that into 90% and get even more referrals. If turns out you're doing really well and having good conversion rates with expired listing calls or farming a neighborhood, wow, put more resources into that. So what is the sources of your business? Make sure you track that for yourself. So again, step one of the annual business planning process, look at your stats, master your stats. Step two is then to begin to create your roadmap. I tell the story often to the embarrassment now of my daughter Anna, who's an agent in our Indianapolis office here. Years ago, the family was having Thanksgiving together at another family member's house up in Detroit. We lived in Indianapolis. Both of our daughters were at school down in Bloomington at IU. The family had spent most of our holidays in Columbus, Ohio, and our daughters drove to Detroit by themselves. They thought, since the family from Detroit always came down to Columbus for Thanksgiving, that the way to Detroit was through Columbus, Ohio, not Columbus, Indiana. So, of course, this was before the days of cell phones, before the days of GPS systems. They didn't have a map. It was a cold, rainy November night, and you can imagine how Mommy and Daddy were feeling waiting in Detroit until like nearly midnight for them to show up with no phones or anything like that. Bottom line, do you know the way to Columbus or Detroit? Which way are you going? So having a roadmap is crucial. Statistics show, you can look this up, I've heard various things from twice as successful people who have written plans are twice as successful with people who just say, "Well, I got it in my head." So written plans are crucial, especially for those of you who may have plateaued and want to take your business to another level. For those of you who are starting out, this is job one. I can't stress the importance. And I'll tell you a secret: if you do this, if you do these steps, do them in writing, and then follow and track your statistics, I guarantee you 100% that you will be more successful than if you don't. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It's an absolute guarantee. So the elements of a business plan, several to it: mission statement, target market, a marketing plan, an annual financial plan or budget, you might want to call it. That kind of scares some people. I like financial plan. And a detailed action agenda leading to what to do every day to grow your business. So a good roadmap and planning make the journey more rewarding. So let's look into some of these things as we get going. I don't think I listed there the SWOT analysis in my overall list there, but this is one of the things you'll do actually before you get started. Again, you've tracked your stats, you're looking at where your stats are. Once you've looked at your stats and you've seen, wow, my conversion ratio on listing presentations was 20%. I did 10 listing presentations and only got 2. Whoa, I need to look at my SWOT analysis and list that, try to determine what those weaknesses are that are causing me not to be successful. SWOT analysis is used in business, has been for years. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So list your strengths. What have you had success at? What are you good at? What are you comfortable at? That's a good place to start for newer agents. You know what? I'm really comfortable going down to the coffee shop, sitting around and chatting up people and telling them I'm in real estate and getting some referrals and some business by just talking up people and developing relationships, even if it's only to add them to my list that I might buy in a year or two, something like that. If you're not good at that, or you're good at really developing, you've got lots and lots of friends who are really eager to help you with your business, and you've gotten several referrals from them. Are you great at calling people on the phone? We have a newer agent who's in our Fisher's office whose strength is systems and calling with automatic dialers and talking to people with expired listings and for sale by owners. And he is phenomenal at that. He tracks every call, how long it takes, what success ratio he has. He tracks it and looks at what he's doing day by day and week by week. So that's his strength. He has some areas that are not strengths as well. So be honest with yourself. And this is a good time to do it, the end of the year. You newer agents, you may not have had much in the way of transactions, so this is a good way to look at. You've finished the 90-day success plan. You're trying to improve your business and take advantage of all the continuing training. This is a great thing to do. What are my weaknesses? What do I need more training on? What do I need more coaching on? And then you take a look at what are the opportunities that I have and what are the threats for that. If one of the things you determine that, I had set for myself a goal through the 90 days to success plan to make 20 calls a day or 10 calls a day or 50 calls a week or whatever, and I've rarely come close to hitting that. And maybe you look at the fact that one of the threats that causes me to have that problem is that I can't get up until like 9:30 or 10 in the morning and get into the office until 10:30, in the morning. And then I've got appointments at 1, and then I've got to go play basketball or golf at 4. So, we all have different schedules. We all have different approaches to the business. But I'm going to suggest that, we all have family issues as well. A number of people have kids to get to the bus, things like that, responsibilities. That certainly comes first. And that's why you do this business, obviously. So do what you can there. And those of you who don't have those responsibilities, I'm going to tell you another secret that will guarantee to make your life better and your business better, and that is get into the office early and start working on some of these things. So if one of your threats is that you're not putting in as many hours as you really know you need to do, and the things you need to do, set your clock and get into the office and start working an hour earlier. I guarantee you that will help you. When I come into the office early, the people who are most successful are the ones who are here already working on their business. So think about the opportunities you have. look at that as an opportunity. I've got the opportunity to improve my call and my conversion ratio if I can just get in here and do the things I need to do. That's an opportunity for me, and that's one of the strengths that I have is talking to people. Now I need to put together the plan to achieve that. So be honest with yourself, and then go to your coach, go to your manager, go to to get much more your mentor or somebody who's an accountability partner, and talk about, hey, do you have any ideas how I can help myself with this? So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Then we get into your mission statement and your target market. Those are the next elements of your business plan. And again, this is business 101 kind of stuff that every business, whether it's a startup in a garage or whether it's IBM or Apple or Berkshire Hathaway with Warren Buffett out in Omaha, Nebraska, the ones that are successful have a mission statement and target markets. Your mission statement, of course, is why am I doing this? This is a great chance for you to stop and think about what's my big why? Why am I doing this? I want to put my kids through college. I want to retire to Bermuda with my spouse in 10 years. What's your big why? That's the place to start. And then how do you translate that into your promise to your clients? This is where the rubber meets the road, and this is your elevator speech is another way to consider this and look at it. My mission statement is that I help people with their biggest personal financial decisions using highly tailored personal services that are focused on making the process rewarding. I don't say a word about real estate. I don't say a word about houses. I talk about service and process. I talk about financial decision. And the last word, I'm a writer, and I know that the first and last words of any sentence, especially the last word, is the most important one. So my last word is rewarding, which implies money, success, et cetera, et cetera. So when I meet, in the short version, when I meet somebody at the coffee shop and they say, what do you do? I help people with their biggest personal financial decisions. I said, that's what I say. And usually people's response to that is, oh, are you a stockbroker or investment advisor or banker or something? And I go, and then I say, no, I'm in real estate. I help people buy and sell homes. I say this frequently. Please don't say I buy and I sell homes. Please don't say that. There's a psychological thing with all of us, no matter how great a job if you've done of building rapport, as soon as you say I sell rotten bananas, there is a slight subconscious pushing away. So don't say I sell. Talk about it. And when I then tell people I'm in real estate, and that's usually most people's biggest personal financial decision, the typical response is, oh, wow, I never thought about it that way. You've just differentiated yourself. So that's my mission statement. Feel free to use that and modify it and make it your own. But what is your mission statement? Obviously, if you're going to want to work in the corporate world and have friends that work for a bank and you want to do some REO business, which there's still a good bit of, your mission statement better be a bit different than mine. So what's your mission statement? And that's your promise to those people that you would like to work with. And then the target market is the next thing. The who are you going after? I just gave an example there. If you want to go after corporate situations or REO, another corporate aspect would be if you have relationship with somebody who maybe runs a small firm in town that hires people from out of town, and they've asked you if you could help them when they are interviewing people coming to town, and you're going to focus sort of trying to work with companies when they're trying to recruit people from people. Your mission statement's probably going to be a bit different. So who's your target market, and tie that with your mission statement, and that will lead you then into some of the next step, which is setting SMART goals. And SMART goals is one of those acronyms: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and I'll go to the next slide because it shows this better there. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-oriented. Specific, what it is that you want to achieve. What do you want to achieve? You know, the whole point of this annual business planning exercise is to build up to the point where we're going to put together the last element we're going to be doing today, put together an annual financial business plan with a budget, and I can even give to you a cash flow analysis if you want to get to that level of detail to know how much you'd need to reserve from one year to the next when the sales are down. So that's the goal, is to put that together. Specific, the more specific the better, the more detailed the better, and then tracking it is crucial. People who have specifics and then track them are wildly more likely to be successful, and this applies to every single one of us in this business. The next one is measurable. We just sort of talked about that at the same time. What's the results? And this gets down into the weekly and daily activities. And in order to get 5 prospects a month, to get 1 person to the closing table a month, I need to make 50 calls a week. That's 10 calls a day. If I break it down to that way. So it's got to be quantifiable, and then you've got to track it. If you do that, I need to make 10 calls today. If you don't make the 10 calls today, make 20 tomorrow. But if you don't pay any attention, it's going to be Friday at 4 o'clock, and you're going to go, oh gosh, I didn't make a single call this week. Oh wow, oh gosh. So you got to measure and track it with quantifiable results that is guaranteed to make your business better if you do this. It has to be attainable. Your goals need to be challenging yet attainable with reasonable effort. Obviously, if you're new in the business and you say, I've sold 2 houses so far in my first 6 months, that's great. Next year, I want to sell $10 million and I want to sell 50 houses. Well, that's probably a little bit too much of a stretch. Is it good to stretch yourself and push yourself? Absolutely. So if you sold 2 houses in the first 6 months in the business, that's good. That's very good. So maybe a goal might be to sell 10 houses or 12 houses in your second year. If you sold 12 houses this year and you want to expand your business, maybe selling 16 houses would be a good attainable goal for you. So yes, set challenging goals, yet attainable with reasonable effort. So the next one then is relevant. They have to be relevant to your position, and I think I misspelled that wildly, position and career. If you have been in the business 30 years and you're approaching my age and you've decided you want to begin to slow down your business, it's probably not worth you setting, and we certainly are not encouraging or pushing people to set a goal of increasing their business. Now, when I talk about building a business and scaling it and putting it in a position to sell, you may want to continue to scale your business if you have an assistant and a team with you that you can begin to, quote, sell your business to. But if you've been selling $3 or $4 million a year and quite happy, and it's heading toward time to retire and you want to scale things down, then put together something that's relevant to that, to your position in your career. If, on the other hand, you've been in the business 3 years, you've just had your first child, and you want to look at putting them through college, wow, maybe it's time to step up your game a little bit. So where are you in your career and your overall business? And make your goals, your objectives relevant to that. And then time-oriented. All too often we find that people just say, yeah, I want to do this or that. Well, when? Just whenever I can get around to it. Well, Buffini and a lot of other people say this. Buffini didn't make this up. A goal without a deadline is only a dream. A goal without a deadline is only a dream. Now, dreams are wonderful. We all like to have dreams. I kind of dream of writing a bestseller and making $5 million and retiring to Tuscany, next year. But actually, I gave that a deadline, so that's not really a dream. But that would be a dream. But if you have goals, smart goals have to have time frames. I want to sell 3 houses the first quarter, 6 houses second quarter 2017, 8 houses third quarter, and 3 more houses fourth quarter. And the business does have that kind of a bell curve to it. So things have to have deadlines. So those are your SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, and relevant. So now we've gone through the preliminaries. It's time to look at sort of the financial roadmap, your business plan, which is what really gets down to making this a business and not a hobby. If that's what you want to look at it, which we encourage. So looking at your financial requirements is step one. Again, if you're single, if you're the sole provider, if you have a spouse that has a steady income, that's wonderful. That will allow you to have a little bit of breathing room and comfort as you get into the business. But we typically say that newcomers to the business, just as with any startup business, typically would expect not to make profits in your first 6 months. So, but if you don't have a good roadmap and don't know when you should be expecting to start to make some profits, then that's a problem. So the goal of all this for newer agents is to help you understand your roadmap of when your business goals were going to fall into place for you, and you can begin to run a profitable business and take that profitable business to, first of all, provide cash flow, and then second of all, to provide value long-term in a business that can be valued. So I will send around these tools that are available at the Resource Center. If you've not taken a look at them, I'll distribute them. There's 2 different ones I'm going to send out. One is the Business Planning Essentials, that is a Berkshire Hathaway corporate Excel spreadsheet that's available at the Resource Center. I like this one piece of it, the financial forecast, especially if you are newer in the business, a sole provider, and even if you have a spouse or partner who is sharing income or sharing, expenses of household. It's good for you to understand what's your share of those, so that you're not putting the burden on the other person entirely. And so this form gets into looking at sort of your basic personal expenses and adding in your business expenses, and it gives you a total down there that you'll see what's my monthly income needed to meet my budget of both my personal expenses, and again, if you have a spouse, that might be 50% of your household incomes. If you don't, then it's going to be 100% of them. So this is going to tell you, this is what I need to break even, man. Wow. Now, the one thing that I don't particularly like about this financial forecast model, it has nothing in here that talks about paying yourself a salary or making a profit. Wouldn't you like to make a profit? Again, this is good as a place to start. For you newer agents who've not made much income, great place to start to say, wow, I need to bring in $2,500 a month or $3,000 a month or whatever it might be just to break even. So that's a good place to start. But what I will encourage you to do is take this as a starting place and then say, well, how much do I want my business to make beyond the business expenses to cover my personal expenses and to add to savings, to build a college fund for my kids, or the Tuscany home purchase for my family. So add those things in there. So then the next step is a separate Excel spreadsheet that I'll send out. It's very similar to the one at the Resource Center. It comes from the Peak Producer program that we've updated it. I like this one because it allows you to control right down to the weekly activity goals what you need to do. And it will start out with what's my 12-month income goal, what's my tax rate. So it starts with what's your take-home pay. If you've done that expense analysis and you found I need to take home $2,000 a month or $3,000 or $5,000 a month, whatever it might be, you've established what that minimum you need to do your take-home goal, and then you add to it whatever else you want your business to make. And so you add the numbers to it, and it walks yourself right down through things. And one of the things that I learned several years ago when we had one of our business conferences, a guy named Pete the Planner came in and he talked the importance of planning and written goals and things like that. And he said something that Buffini talks about as well, and that is pay yourself a salary from your business. First of all, common wisdom for you newer agents or anyone who's been in the business a while and has not done this, please, 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 at least set up a separate bank account for your business. To have a separate bank account. Don't intermingle your personal funds. Obviously, to start out with, you're going to have to put some of your personal funds in there since you're probably not going to be making a profit. But set, number one, at least a separate bank account. Number two, if you can, and you can do this fairly inexpensively, set up a separate LLC, a company for yourself, so that you have the tax benefits of having that separate company, and then you fund that company to get it started. And as your business grows, hopefully you're reaching a point of equilibrium where you're then having positive cash flow. You can pay yourself a salary from that, keeping the leftovers in the business. And then at the end of the year, if you've had a successful year, pay yourself a bonus at the end of the year and leave some money in the bank at the end of the year, because as we all know, the wintertime is typically slower from a cash flow standpoint. So leave money in your business account so that you're not scrambling in February when a bill comes due and you say, oh, I don't have any money to pay that. That feels awful. Leave the money in there. Pay yourself a salary. So let's go live here now. I'm going to get out of this presentation if I can. There we go. And open up Excel to the spreadsheet that I've talked about there. The annual business planner tool. I'll expand that a little bit. So I will send this one around as well. Josh, I think you've used this one as well. So the items in green are elements that you can put in yourself. The items that are in burgundy or Cabernet, I'm sorry, are formulas. So don't change those because those are set formulas. So again, you've done that analysis. I need to take home $3,000 a month, let's say. Let's just use that. So that's an annual take-home pay of $36,000. So you'd put that in there. Then you can put in, what's my tax rate? I put in your 20%. You'll have some expenses and various things like that. If you have a mortgage, you're going to get some deductions. If you want to put in 22, 25, whatever, that will change how much you need. Let's just change that to 22% to be a little bit more conservative there. So what that then tells you, if I want to take home $36,000 and my tax rate on my net income is 22%, that means my net income needs to be $46,000. And by net income, that's business income after my business expenses, okay? So take home pay, net income. Next, you move down and you put, what are my projected business expenses? You've got your MLS dues, you may have desk fees. Every market and every office has a little bit different arrangements. So if you don't know what your expenses are for the year, sit down with your manager, sit down with your coach, your mentor, and look back at your past and figure out what are your expenses. Whether it's $5,000, let's just change that to $6,000. Whoops, not 60, 6,000. So that will show you next what your adjusted gross commission you'll need to bring in if you want to take home $36,000 and you have total expenses of $6,000 and a 22% tax rate. So this is great stuff. Most people never look at this kind of thing. So this is a great way to get moving to show you what you really need to accomplish. And it really puts some fire in the belly for us when we see these things. So then what's your split with your company? I've got 70% in here. Might be 60%, it might be 50-50. Every office and the different markets have different splits. So take a look, make sure you understand what your split is, number one, and put that in here. Let's just go with 70% as the split there. So you've come up with what the gross commission that you need in your name, your gross commission, and then since you've got to pay the company 30%, your share is 70%, we divide that by that 70%. And that means you need to bring in about $79,000 of gross commission to the company, and then I get 70%, the company gets 30%. So that means that I need to look at enough transactions to bring in at the closing table checks made out to Berkshire Hathaway Home Services totaling $79,000. That makes sense? So then this is where it gets really interesting and where you can have a lot of fun. What's your average sale price? If you're new in the business, I would say use the market average sale price in whatever market you're in. It might be higher, it might be lower. If you've been in the business a while and you have a higher than the average market average sale price, then by all means use your own average. That's the key. So let's just use $150,000 as the average sale price here, and then you enter in your average commission rate. I already gave the little example of my good friend Jonna Montgomery and her realization at 1.8, the difference that made by getting that to 2.3%. You might think that 2.75% is kind of low. You know, gosh, most listings are at 6 or 7%, so shouldn't that be at least 3 or 3.2 or something like that? Well, that's in an ideal world. This is sort of like baseball. The Cubs won last night. Hooray. So, you know, batting averages, if you're a baseball fan, if you're at 300, you're a good hitter. That's a good hitter. If you're at 275, that's not a bad hitter. If you're at 325, whoa, you're a champion. Same thing with commission rates. Most of the time, we will discount rates in many markets. The average commission rate at the top of the market is 6%, so 3% on the side. If you do relocations, if you give somebody a discount, many agents, if they do both a buy and a sell, will give a discount of reducing it maybe 0.5% or something like that. But if you do relocation deals, it'll be much lower. So look at what's your average commission rate over the last year, what you've done, and use that number for yourself. And so that will then give you the gross sales volume you need. So going back up, if you want a net $36,000 take-home pay with that tax rate, $6,000 of expenses, that split, average of 150, and your average of that commission rate, you need a volume of about 2.87, $2.9 million. That's not too bad. So what that then gets down into is that shows you that you'll need 19 transactions at that average, or 4.8 per quarter, or 1.5 per month, or in other words, about 3 every 2 months, since we don't sell half houses usually. So then you can take that down into your referral and lead ratios. So how many contacts do I need to generate one solid prospect, or contacts or leads do I need to get one solid prospect or one referral? So again, a lead or a contact is somebody. You get a lead on the internet, or you call up somebody, whether it's an expired listing or whatever. How many of those cold contacts do you need to get a prospect that is somebody who gives you their information and allows you to put them on their list and might be buying at some point in time in the future, and in fact then agrees to meet with you face to face? That's when you get into a prospect. So your number may vary. As a newer agent, you might put 25 in there. I need to make 25 contacts or get 25 leads to get one actual prospect that might lead to something. So that kind of tells you if you want to get 5 prospects a week, you need to be making 25 calls a day to get 1 prospect a week from that. And then for those prospects that you get, how many of those actual prospects that you get a face-to-face meeting actually lead to a closing within the next 6 months? Now, they still are excellent if they lead to a closing in a year, because this is a long-term business. But if it takes 3 of those to get to 1 to the closing table in 6 months or so, then that's your ratio there. So that will then bring it down to, I need to generate just under 5 prospects per month. That means I need to make 120 contacts or get 120 leads per month, that many per week, 27 contacts per week, and 5 or 6 contacts or leads per weekday to generate those numbers. So this tells you what you need to do every day. So let's go back up here and change a few things. Let's just, obviously, you can change how much you want to make, what your tax rate is, what your expenses might be, and what your split is. But let's take a look at some of the things that we've talked about in terms of business planning and what our goals for helping with training and coaching can help you do. What if you could improve that average sale price from $150 to, let's just take a big jump, to $200,000. Instead of 2.9 million gross volume needed, you would still need $2.9 million, but let me go back on that, I apologize. So at $150,000, you still need that same gross volume, but that was 19 sides. If we change that to $200,000, that becomes only 14 sides. You can sell 5 fewer houses. In other words, make the same money and not have to work as hard. Wow. So that's going to give you some guidance. And, I think I'd like to target farming in neighborhood X. Nobody's sold more than one house there in the last 12 months. I've sold 2 houses with buyers in there. Haven't had a listing, but I know several people there. Wow, I'm going to target that, and that's an average price in that neighborhood of $250. Boom, I'm going to work on that. So if you can raise your average sale price, let's look at the commission rate. If you could get that average commission rate, let's look at the other way first. Let's say what happens if you're doing too many discounts and you're giving away too much and you're doing way too many relocation deals. Again, relocation deals are great. So let's say your average commission rate was only 1.8. What does that do? Oh, I got to sell 22 houses again. Wow. So all these things go together when you do that. So let's leave that at 2.75. Let's see, what if we change that? If we could get that up to 3 by being much more proactive and not discounting, not giving away our fees, doing enough relocation deals to build our business, but not overdoing it. Wow. Look at that. That took it not to 14, but down to 13. Of course, that's an average side of $200,000. So these are the 2 elements, your average sale price and your average commission rates, that you control, and that we're here. Obviously, there's more to it than you control it, but you do have a level of control there. And that's what we're here to help you with, improving those elements. Obviously, one of your goals should also be, and part of our training is coaching, is to get that conversion rate that we talk about from 25, let's say that goes down to 20, and let me move this up a little bit there. What if we only had to make 20 contacts to get one prospect? What's that do to the number of referrals and the number of contacts? Wow, it took it from 80-some down to 66. We still need to get that many referrals, but the number of contacts, wow, that just made our job a lot easier. That's only 3 calls a day. And what if it got down to, we were so good at this that we could get 1 closing from every 2.5 prospects? Wow, what that does. So this gives you some guidance and some things to focus on in improving your skills, what you'd like to do to accomplish that, and how you can control what you're doing in your business and how this ties all together. So back to the presentation to finish up here. The overall skill of preparing a written annual business plan, it's not only a skill, but it's homework, I guess I would encourage you to do. And all of our management team, we've talked a lot about this at our annual retreat, is we're here to help every agent put together, whether you've done it before and want to refine it, or if you've never done it, you will improve your business and make your life easier if you have a written plan, and that will lead to better tracking of your activities and stats, so you know where you are. You can keep track of when you're off track and do that more frequently instead of waiting until 6 months have gone by and then it's too late to make changes, or any changes you do make don't have an impact on your year. All that's going to help you. Knowing where you've been and where you're going is going to clearly lead better results for you. So, LEAP, taking a significant step forward. We're excited about the new training program and our approach, and I hope you will all take advantage of this. And remember, leadership, excellence, attitude, and professionalism. And hopefully you've taken some things away from today's session on setting SMART goals and 2017 business planning. So we'll be coming around to the various offices. Your manager's there to help you with this, and I really look forward to 2017 being everyone's best year ever. So let's see if we have any questions. Anybody? Don't see anything in chat down there. Any questions? Nope. Thank you much, everyone. Take care. See you next time.